When people hear the word charisma, they often think of famous speakers, celebrities, or people who can walk into a room and instantly become the center of attention. But charisma is much more complex than that. At its core, charisma is the ability to attract, engage, and influence other people through your presence, communication, and behavior. It's a quality that makes others enjoy being around you and pay attention to what you have to say. One of the biggest misconceptions about charisma is that it means being loud, extroverted, or constantly talking. In reality, some of the most charismatic people are actually quiet. They don't dominate conversations. Instead, they make others feel important, understood, and comfortable. Think about the people you've met who leave a strong impression on you. Often, it's not because they were the funniest or the loudest person in the room. It's because they made you feel like what you were saying mattered. They listened carefully, maintained eye contact, and seemed genuinely interested in the conversation. That's a form of charisma. Psychology often describes charisma as a combination of three main qualities: presence, warmth, and confidence. Presence means being fully engaged in the moment. When charismatic people talk to someone, they aren't constantly checking their phone or looking around the room. They give their attention to the person in front of them. This makes others feel respected and valued. Warmth is the ability to communicate kindness, friendliness, and good intentions. People are naturally drawn to those who make them feel safe and accepted. Warmth can be shown through smiling, active listening, empathy, or showing genuine interest in others. Confidence is the belief that you have value and that your thoughts are worth expressing. Confident people don't constantly seek approval from everyone around them. They are comfortable with themselves. However, confidence alone isn't enough. Someone who is confident but lacks warmth can come across as arrogant. Someone who is warm but lacks confidence may struggle to influence others. Charisma often comes from balancing both. Another interesting aspect of charisma is that it's deeply connected to emotions. Human beings are emotional creatures. We remember how people make us feel more than we remember the exact words they said. A charismatic person can create positive emotions in others, whether it's excitement, comfort, or inspiration and curiosity. This is why great leaders often appear charismatic. Their charisma doesn't come from having perfect ideas. It comes from their ability to communicate a vision that makes people feel hopeful or motivated. They create emotional connections. Charisma also plays a huge role in friendships. Think about the people who seem to make friends easily. They aren't necessarily the smartest, funniest, or most attractive. Often, they are simply good at making others feel included. They ask questions, remember details, and show genuine interest in people's lives. Social media has changed how we think about charisma as well. Many people assume that charisma is about having millions of followers or getting lots of likes, but online popularity and charisma aren't the same thing. Some influencers gain attention through controversy or trends, while truly charismatic creators often build strong communities because their audience feels connected to them. One fascinating question psychologists ask is whether charisma is something you are born with or something you can learn. While some people naturally develop social skills earlier than others, research suggests that many charismatic behaviors can be practiced and improved. For example, improving your listening skills can make you appear more charismatic. Learning to tell stories can make your conversations more engaging. Developing confidence through experience can help you communicate more effectively. These are skills, not magical talents. Storytelling is actually one of the most powerful tools of charisma. Humans have been telling stories for thousands of years. Stories capture attention because they create emotion and meaning. That's why charismatic speakers often use personal experiences, examples, and narratives instead of just presenting facts. Another characteristic of charismatic people is authenticity. People are surprisingly good at detecting when someone is pretending to be something they are not. Trying too hard to impress others can often have the opposite effect. Genuine charisma comes from expressing your real personality while respecting and connecting with other people. There is also a dark side to charisma, because charismatic individuals can influence others. Charisma can sometimes be used for manipulation. Throughout history, some charismatic figures have convinced people to support harmful ideas or make poor decisions. This is why charisma itself isn't automatically good or bad. It's a tool. The impact depends on how it's used. A useful way to understand charisma is to compare it to a magnet. A magnet doesn't force objects to move toward it, it simply creates an attraction. In a similar way, charismatic people don't usually force others to pay attention. Their behavior naturally encourages people to listen, engage, and connect. If you want to become more charismatic, you don't need a different personality. You don't need to become the loudest person in the room. Instead, focus on developing presence, warmth, confidence, good listening skills, and genuine interest in others. Small changes in how you interact with people can have a surprisingly large effect. So, what is charisma? Charisma is the ability to create meaningful connections with other people through confidence, warmth, presence, and authenticity. It's not about being the center of attention. It's about making people feel valued, understood, and inspired. And unlike what many people believe, charisma isn't reserved for a special few. It's a skill that almost anyone can develop with practice.